Hello and welcome to NBL Overtime. What a weekend of basketball it was. NBL Round 1. They were doing something over there in Singapore and the EuroLeague games. Damon, Peter Hooley, welcome in. How did you spend your weekend? Where did you go?
I hung out in the west side of Australia. Went over there and checked out the Wildcats for myself and, was thoroughly entertained.
Did you get the pink eye flight? Sorry. Did you get the red eye flight on the way back?
No, my eyes was fine.
Unlike yours, who's been all over. You've been everywhere. You've been a very busy man.
I have been a very busy man. A lot of the places I've been, I won't mention, but I also went to Sydney and did the EuroLeague games, the PGT tournament, which was fantastic. I will say the crowd over there was what we want the NBL games to get to eventually. When Partizan won and they're playing the music, it's going crazy. That's the ultimate goal of where to get to.
Yeah, it was great. It was great to watch as well. You said the NBL's back. Round 1 was terrific. A lot to talk about, but just to see two teams. I was nervous because of what we saw Thursday night where they played each other and they really competed. We've seen, historically speaking, NBL teams in pre-season not take it too serious. Well, the EuroLeague teams were going to take it serious, and that was really fun because it brought the best out of both teams.
Round 1 was fantastic if you weren't going through a terrible breakup. And unfortunately, the Perth Wildcats, we always hate when the ex gets the better. And it felt that way for the Perth Wildcats because all the build-up, they said, no, we're fine. Bryce is gone. We got JLA. Riley's back another year. The team's good to go. Henshall's going to be a superstar. And unfortunately, on night 1, it did not eventuate for the Wildcats.
That's not to say that it won't eventually, though. So, we got to be careful. We just can't go jumping to conclusions early. One game was played. That was it. And they almost won. There's a lot of good signs there. I saw a lot of Perth fans walking around a little bit dejected, kind of confused, not quite knowing how to feel. And I was consoling them. Don't worry about it. You're going to be okay.
You expect growing pains when you've got significant pieces coming in. And you're talking about the bookends of their team are brand new faces who have to understand how they're going to play under John Riley. JLA, a marquee big man, one of the best big men in the league, and Mason Jones. And from watching that game, you could sense it's going to take some time. Mason Jones has been there less than a week or just over a week. It's going to take time to understand where everybody else has to fit, how the offense works. Of course, you want to get off on the right note. You want to beat Tassie, who suffered a poor loss, but also Tassie coming in off a loss they had on their home floor. They wanted to avenge that, and they did that. So, yeah, it's definitely not panic signs, but there are certain few things you watch in that game and you pick out and you say, you know what, this is a team that's still going to have to take some time to get their identity right.
I love nothing more than a violent, knee-jerk reaction. But let's see how John really summed it up.
It's certainly a great word, clunky. We're going to be an evolving team. But, there was parts of it like sometimes you create your own luck. The way we just played our purpose in some of the patches, it'll be interesting to watch the film again.
Well, I watched some film and I just picked out a few things. This is to talk about the clunkiness. Mason Jones starting the possession before we've got the corner filled. There's still everybody's trying to run through, figure out where we're going to be. It's all about understanding where do you get the best out of your offense. Christian Doolittle, everybody can play different point guard, everyone can play different positions, but it's just about, okay, time to score. When do we need things? How do we get things on the same page? And as we mentioned, it's going to take time. These aren't alarm bells, as you mentioned, Damon, but it's like, okay, how do we get the best out of JLA in these moments? How do we get the best out of Doolittle? How do we get the best out of Ben Henshall? And we'll talk about two guys who will have to be better, but it's this for me. A lot of standing still. A lot of standing still, just trying to figure out, okay, let's let Doolittle have an advantage here. Let's let JLA happen. It happened a lot. The standing still is not going to help you guys get on the same page. And we talk about individuals that are just a little bit concerning. I don't think Dylan Windler's going to have 3 points in 35 minutes again. That's an anomaly. We probably need him to be a little bit more aggressive. And Ben Henshall, 4 of 13. A lot of those shots we haven't seen him hit in the preseason. That's going to come. It's going to come in a new starting unit.
When you get a brand new import in, and it's the point guard position, which I believe is the hardest position to play on the floor, he's got to work out first. They recruited me for a reason. What is my job? The guy that you recruited is a high-octane bucket getter. But now the team needs some distribution. He doesn't know how JLA works. He don't know where he likes the ball. Like you said, he hasn't been here long enough to work out all the nuances. But I'm telling you, the talent is there, and it's only going to be a matter of time. I was most impressed with, out of all of that, Benny Henshall's playing defense, man. Now, I ain't saying he didn't play last year. I'm just saying he's not renowned for playing defense to that level. And he was in the passing lanes. He got a couple breakaway dunks. That was impressive.
Is there any surprise that they're standing around, though? They played with Bryce Cotton for so long, and a credit to Bryce Cotton, you have to stand around because you just let the master do his thing. So I'm not worried at all about the Perth Wildcats because that's something that's going to be worked out. And as you mentioned, Mason Jones coming in, JLA, some new faces, a lot of continuity in the roster. But for a lot of these guys, they've been able to win games by just standing around and doing sweet F all.
It's hard, right, for Mason Jones because he is such a scorer as well and such an aggressive mindset. He's coming in as that point guard, understanding, okay, Dylan Windler and Christian Doolittle, if we had the mindset of those two last year, it might be a little easier for Mason Jones to come in and play his role. They're different this year. They're more aggressive on the offensive end. So him picking his time with getting everybody else looks where they need to, it's going to take a bit of time to gel. But, yeah, of course, we shouldn't be worried yet.
What's your grades on JLA? When you come into the league under the price tag of that $1 million range, you know that we're going to be hard on you. Did he live up to expectations?
JLA gets an A. JLA.
That's an amazing nickname.
You like
Wow.
that one? It was an easy double two-man. He picked up his second foul relatively early, and Johnny sat him some of that late in the first half. But you can't really guard this guy. I mean, Will Magnay did a very serviceable job, made him work for it. But the guy can score from all over the place. He's one of the most elite big men the league has ever seen. He's a first-team talent. Now, whether that eventuates, we'll wait and see. But now, on debut, double-double, A.
And what's going to make his job a whole lot easier is if the likes of Windler, Henschel, Pepper, they knock down shots. Because when they're not doing that, they clog the keyway. You either throw it to JLA in that short roll or you give it to him in the high post. He's a point guard trapped in a big spotty with the way he can break it down off the dribble. Even though someone said at the Blitz he can't do it, or in the preseason games that he can't do that, he very well can. So that's going to help. That's going to help, knocking down shots. And we expect them to be shooting it a whole lot better. But, yeah, he really looked good.
Pete? To every stone, there is another side. I don't believe that's the saying, but we'll use it anyway.
Yeah, definitely not.
You told me throughout the preseason that every single MVP at one point or another can win the MVP, and you landed on one. Bryce Hamilton, you were correct. He looks legitimate MVP material. Again, early doors, but he looks very good.
Well, as soon as they signed him, I was really high on what he could achieve, and just seeing him play in the last couple of years. But then when I was in Las Vegas for Summer League, coaches around the world, agents around the world were very high, just bringing him up unprompted, saying they've got a stud here. Same with David Johnson. But this is terrific to see. And what I love is clearly he's had a conversation since the Blitz about, you know what, we need you to be a bit more aggressive. He took over this game late. And if you go back to some of the other times we've seen Tassie, they can be methodical, they get through plays. Him breaking off plays and kind of just playing some one-on-one, it's a beautiful thing to see, and I'm just glad that he started this way because he's a phenomenal prospect.
We're going to talk more about the man from Pasadena a little bit later in the show. But what Tassie did a great job of, you lose that tough game at home, which they could easily won. You got to go on the road. You got a day to prepare. Scott Ross probably needs less time to prepare. But
we're going to touch on that.
To now go into Perth and like regroup. They did a great job, and that was a classic kind of a grit and grind. We're seeing some bones of what Scott Roth made famous with those Tasmania teams. Now, 6 new guys in that team, young dudes as well. It's going to take them a while to gel, but to be able to bounce back after a disappointing home loss, kudos to those dudes.
Felix, you talk about it every year with the continuity, how important it is. Tassie's that first game, it just showed me they have 4 new faces in the starting lineup. Much like Perth Wildcats don't have as many new faces, but the bookends they have are key pieces. It takes some time to figure out where everybody needs to play, I guess, a sense the hierarchy of the offense, but the defense, the way they play is always going to roll over. That's the Jackie way. So they go into Perth, their home opener, they wanted to get off to a strong start, and they silenced the crowd, so it was a big win.
Hey, I love the Jackie way. The Tasmania Jack Jumpers, they've got some great players, they've got some great people around the club. Let's just have a look how Scott Roth handled himself during the week, though.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I have no idea who's on Perth roster or anything because I don't follow the NBL stuff. So I'll get all that stuff loaded up on my computer tomorrow morning and watch on the flight over there. But I couldn't tell you 2 cents about Perth. I haven't seen them play this year. I got no clue.
Spare me the nonchalant wannabe Greg Popovich shite. It is growing old, this shtick, being disrespectful to anyone that tries to interview him, giving stuff like that. You scouted the Perth Wildcats. You know exactly who's there. The need to do all this sort of stuff, it works when you're winning. And credit, I was going to jump down the neck of Tasmania. I was ready to go if they lost that game. But you know what? They went out there and they won a tough game on the road, so I got to shut up and say nothing. But the shtick for me, and I find it disrespectful, I find it really disrespectful at times, is just growing so tiresome, and you better hope, if you're going to be doing that all throughout the year, the short interviews, the I don't want to give this time, I don't want to do that, my God, you better win games. And this week, you got off because you won.
I don't recall Scott Roth being like that in year one.
No.
I felt like he was the kind of lovable, kind of the, grandfather kind of a dude. He's definitely real scratchy these days. But as far as that saying, I haven't even looked at Perth, I couldn't tell you. I mean,
He looked at Perth.
That's lame. I mean,
He looked at Perth. He looked at Perth.
did.
You're a professional coach. And if you didn't look at Perth, I'd be incredibly disappointed as an organisation. What the hell were you doing for the last 3 days?
Easy, big fella. Easy.
But again, as you said, though, if they go over there and lose, it's a terrible look. It's a terrible
look.
But the fact that they go over there and won, as you said, we all know that he's seen Perth. He knows what's going on with the roster. You don't have to do it, especially after a home loss. It's more of, you know what, we're going over there. We want to get our first win. It's easier to do that. The fact that they won probably saved a whole lot of face, and I can see you getting upset.
Man, I got about 6 pages worth of stuff down here that I'm not able to use.
But you just don't have to do it. I get what you're saying.
I could see if he was cheeky about it. I could see if he had like a little bit of a tongue in cheek, but he's coming across as if he's legitimately annoyed.
But do you think people actually believe? Because again, we
don't think
sit here and we're
anybody's
just like,
buying
no, we
it.
know you know exactly who's on Perth.
Am I getting baited in? Am I getting trolled? Am I like the fish on the end of the hook right now?
You might
Is
be.
Scott
Can I
Roth sitting
say-
at home watching this saying, look at this idiot buying into it? Is that what he's saying?
I think so. I think that's
Well, I'll tell
it
you
is.
what, Scott, it worked because I'm fired up and I almost punched the computer when I saw it. But you won, so you get off this week. Melbourne United, 2 for 2. They looked impressive. Again, it was a team, when they built their roster, you looked at it and you probably say, hey, they're probably worse off than last year. But again,
I didn't say that. Now, I saw that roster and I said, okay, you brought in 2 stud guards. Tyson Walker is a stud. Like, I saw him defensively picking up Parker Jackson Cartwright full court. Now, mind you, PJC is slightly compromised.
Slightly.
With the injury.
Slightly.
But I saw a guy in Tyson Walker who can match him step for step. Close enough. Close I've seen. Besides him, clearly Milton Doyle. We already know his work. Finn Delaney, best shape of his life, balling out. And Jesse Edwards. We're going to have something for you later on in the show, big fella. Not this show, but later on future shows. Jesse Edwards is legit. He's a shot blocking menace. He doesn't get the whole lot of touches, but when he gets them, he finishes.
If you get the chance to watch Melbourne United in person, get up as close as you can because he is a monster. I remember seeing him in the Blitz. 7 foot, the way that he gets up and down the floor, it's exceptional for his size. The way that he blocks everything, he can dunk. So I'm impressed by that. But Milton Doyle, to go in Game 1, you talk about writing the script of the season. Game 1, the way he just does this, he's as clutch as they come. And yes, people are going to knock, you know what, his field goal percentage has been down at times.
Doesn't matter.
When you've got a guy, there's only 3 guys in the league who have continued to prove time in and time out that they have what it takes to put their team on their back when the going gets tough. It's Bryce Cotton, it's Tyler Harvey, and it's Milton Doyle. Those are the only 3 who consistently do it in the clutch.
CG 43. I'll add Chris Golding into that as well.
I'll add Chris Golding for big shots as well. When you talk about, so he scored the last 7 points, consistently playmaking, doing it like the other 3 do. It's a different, I think, category. But CG, if you talk about you want a game on the line, you want Chris Golding taking that shot. But now they have 2 of those when he comes back. Look out.
This is why I say there's 2 percentages. There's your regular season percentage, there's your kind of in-game percentage, and then there's clutch percentage. Everybody's banging on about the 7 for 21. Who cares? Like you said, the last 5-6 minutes of that game, that's the kind of time that counts. And those 21 shots he took, we was begging for him to take those many shots last year. Now he's taking them. He's fine.
I'm going to issue my first public apology to Milton Doyle.
Wait, the first? You've had plenty.
No, legally on the show.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. The other ones to individuals outside the program. Because I have graded him wrong across his career, I feel. A lot of times we've come on here, and Leonard Copeland's guilty of this one as well, saying, hey, we want more attempts. We want a better percentage. You look at Milton Doyle averaging 15 across the season because he's hit so many clutch shots across his time is worth 21 for any other guard. It's worth 23, it's worth 24. The way that he time in, time out, just continuously hits these big shots, I'm happy with, because for the most of that game, he was fairly quiet. Outside of those clutch shots, I was watching that game thinking, God, it's the same old Milton Doyle, but he single-handedly won them the game. And when you look back on film, he's done that time and time again.
And it's not just the final shot, right? He did it at the quarter time, the halftime buzzer. It's not even the final shot of the game, which he's hit plenty of times. It's the lead-up. It's the last 2-3 minutes when you're defending him. You're like, man, if they're going to keep putting the ball in his hands, we're in trouble. Because if he doesn't knock down shots, he still has the clutch gene and the IQ to make plays as I said, when Chris Goulding comes back, to have 2 of those, when they have to have it in the clutch moments, that's incredibly dangerous.
Dash Daniels and Karim Lopez went head-to-head in this one. Karim Lopez still just nursing himself back to full health, still on a minutes restriction. He had the best move of the game, but Daniels, we just got a little taste of what he's going to bring this year.
And I've been waiting for this. I couldn't wait. The Dash show is in town. This 17, man. I was like, what was that, 11th grade, 12th grade? He has no fear. Fears no man. I don't know how it feels to be an adult grown man and let a 17-year-old knock a triple down in your face, and then you try to beat him off the dribble and then realize you can't. He makes it extremely difficult for you. His defensive instincts. It's hard to find young people to give a damn about defense.
And
Dash loves it.
Doing it in the clutch when they're up 20 in the first quarter as well. Unbelievable.
It's very impressive. Very, very impressive. There would have been nerves. You've got your family here. Obviously, he's made the decision for the Next Stars program. All eyes on you against Karim Lopez as well. Absolutely outstanding. And he's not even scratching the surface of what he's capable of this season and in the future.
Hey, we say it, Next Stars. They usually start slow. We saw it with Josh Giddey. We saw it with Mallow Ball and Lopez. There's a point in the year where they realise, hey, I'm better than these guys. I'm going to have a massive career, and it's whether it's the 15-game mark, the 16-game mark, they get out there and they just go voop like that. We're going to see that.
And credit to
with
Dean
Dash
Vickerman
Daniels.
for playing him early. First quarter, Dash, get in there. He is not messing around.
Is that in the contract, you reckon? You reckon there's a
I was going
minutes
to
thing
say
in
you
the
talk about
contract?
peaking after a certain amount of games. How many did it take you?
It took me 1 to peak.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that was the end. But it's time for it. Ain't no Cupcake League. Now, I hear you on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw this
hear
too.
you online saying that Corey wouldn't like this award because it's named as a bit of a joke thing that we see around the league. Now, I understand your concerns with that, and I definitely see where you're coming from. But we know Corey, and Corey used to love this stuff. So that's why we name it after the great Corey Homicide
And
Williams.
this is what we're saying is we have cupcake moments that we can't allow to continue. We have to be better than.
Yeah.
That's the whole premise
Yeah.
of this because we've got plenty of them.
Things that we can't allow to continue, but they will continue, is what Jack Heverin was up to. Have a look at this shameless promotion, getting the Reebok pumps in. Now, we understand you're doing a lot of Triple M, you're doing a lot of footy, your career's flying, but come on, mate, they're not going to make you any taller. You can push that thing as much as you want.
He might be able to get up and get the net now.
Oh, my man, just absolutely shameless
Cameras are always
behaviour.
rolling.
Now, have I mentioned Scott Roth yet throughout the broadcast? I haven't, because there was another incident. Have a look at this one. Now, I'm going to put this one down to Cupcakes because our man, Hayden Timmins, the team manager, tried to join the handshake line, and Scott Roth, the man who suffers no fools, gave him an absolute icing on that one, which I thought, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say that Scott Roth did not see his hand.
I don't think he did, but if you saw Hayden's hand, would you do it? Come
Probably
on,
not.
Hayden. That's good from you. Good start. Now, season opener, we need everything to be happening the right way. Down in Tassie, the history that they have, I feel for Kelsey, man. Kelsey Brown's done a terrific job. Have a look at this. She's just trying to start everything. And I know Snoop Dogg's coming early, but was he down at My Stain Bakery? Someone get Snoop out of the seats.
In Adelaide.
Josh King, if you haven't got... Now, we know he's the most energetic person, right?
Yep.
We understand he's the most energetic person out there. Everything that he brings shows more emotion than anyone. You've just won a game by 50. If a selfie asks for a fan, you can't smile?
A selfie asked for a fan?
A fan asks for a selfie and you can't smile? Come on, Josh.
Oh, that's
You
crazy.
just won by 50. And finally, Damon, you might have missed this, but our fearless host was trying to be a bit of a hero in the pre-rehearsal, and this is what happens when you sit down in the chairs and don't take it seriously.
yeah.
It takes some getting
For
used
someone...
Have a look at him. Have a look at him.
I'm used to a chair with a back. What happened to these budget cuts? We've got no back on these chairs. What is happening?
Yeah.
I've got 2, and
Yeah,
I forgot
so
the first one.
Oh!
No, I'm kidding. No, I got it.
Okay, yeah,
So here we are. Me and you, Felix, you know we love working together. We got
Right.
the New Zealand game. No, you ain't getting me. We got the New Zealand-Brisbane game. So, Mitch Norton, who we all love.
We love
he
him.
goes down.
Oh, come on.
And we worried. Like, all of the state of Queensland and all of basketball pretty much in Australia is worried for Mitch Norton.
Everybody
Let's have
loves
a
him.
look and see how you responded.
As we look at the replay here, and hearts in mouth stuff, and can't gather much from that, but we hope for Mitch Norton, such a stalwart of the NBL and one of the much loved figures across the league by teammates and competitors alike, that he is okay. My man Kenny with the stomach sweat.
And here you are. You was doing so well early, showing great concern, which I know is sincere, but we don't give a damn about what's going on with Widgeon's stomach sweat.
Hey, I love Kenny, but I'm
Stay focused, man.
You got hair there or whatever it is. but
Stay
why do
focused.
you have a sweat patch directly on the stomach?
Now, okay, That was that one. That's
Oh, you
on the
don't know,
court.
yeah.
That's on the court. Now let's look at Felix off the court.
Oh.
Now look,
Oh, yeah.
now here we are. Now Felix, there was a time that you was a media personality, man. Everything was looking great for you when you was The Bachelor. Look how far we've fallen.
Oh, God.
Are we hosting trivia nights in gymnasiums now? Come on, Felix. You don't have to say yes to everything, man.
Out of all people, yeah, it's a cashier. And out of all people to make fun of me for trying to better myself and get in the gym,
I can see if you was working out. in the
David
gym.
Goggins. Oh, man, I'll tell you what, we're going to cut to a break. Damon finally remembered his cupcake. We'll see you in a moment. Highs and lows of the NBL, Southeast Melbourne dominating the Cairns Taipans. We're going to stay on Southeast Melbourne for a moment because have we seriously underestimated them? On the defensive end, in their preseason games in the Japanese B-League, they were unbelievable, and they continued it in this contest.
I'm not going to say we underrated them. We knew they was going to come out and play unbelievable defense under Josh King. We knew that. There was a little bit of a concern sacking Vrins on the eve of the season starting. So I'm thinking, where's the firepower going to come from? But on the defensive end, like you called beautifully, if they can generate points from the defensive end that translates, that's going to help them out. I thought they was rock solid. That's what I came to expect from a defensive team. Offensive still remains to be seen, and I also have to factor in opposition.
Yeah, jury's still out on the offensive end because of who they were playing. We'll chat Cairns after this, but for the Phoenix, John Brown. Now, this is what we came to know. This is his whole resume is on the defensive end, but to see it in person, there's a reason he led the EuroLeague in steals in 2022. He is an absolute nightmare defensively, and I know he got only recorded 6 steals in the end. He probably forced 12. Malik Lewis got a couple. He is absolutely everywhere. It's infectious the way that he plays, and they were all picking up. And what I love about this is Josh King could not give a stuff if the ball goes in the hole or not. He is just yelling at everybody to get up and in full court. And defense translates, especially in the NBL. History proves if you're a top 4 defensive team, you're in with a chance to win a title. So they are going to be in that just under Josh King and the personnel they have, just what we've seen in the preseason. The jury's still out on the offensive end when they play another team that's going to slow them down. They don't have as many forced turnovers, and then we'll see. But, man, you couldn't ask for a better start.
He's like a quarterback on defense, like a point guard, a defensive point guard as a big. It's really fun to watch. You can see him point and move in that. It is textbook for a coach.
You can forget about just making easy reverse passes. If John Brown's guarding you, you're going to have to set a back pick on him and get him off you or something. But what I was impressed with was young Owen Foxwell got his first start. Now I'm thinking, that's kind of interesting. You got your import, Hunter Maldonado. I was thinking, is he going to get the 6th Man of the Year award? Because he was solid.
It looks good.
But that's just what Josh King decided to go with. Whether that remains the case for all season, who knows? But one thing that Josh did, he went out after Matt Hurt left, because Matt Hurt was not a Josh King guy. Great scorer, but Josh King needs his kind of people. So in comes, like you said, in comes my man, John Brown III, and that is the guy who he's going to kind of build the defensive scheme around.
We need to start a full petition here. We need an all-defensive team.
Nah, boring.
Keep it under. Okay.
Boring.
Hey, no,
We need it because Magnay looked unbelievable. You saw talk about Tyson Walker, what he was doing, but John Brown might already have a hand on it, and we've got to reward some other people.
Hey, get with the memo. We don't want to encourage defense. I want these games finished 140 to 150. Get that defense out of there. We're trying to pack the stands. Hey, humour me this. I think the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, after firing Vrens, which I believe was the right move, hopefully he has success elsewhere, going into the season with an import slot open, so you can then play the first 5, 6 games, even longer if you need, work out where you are deficient, and then you can sign an import to fill that gap. I think Southeast Melbourne are in a fantastic position. There's a lot of teams who are going to be in a financial position where they can't let someone go, even though it doesn't fill their particular need. I reckon all teams should be starting the year with 2 imports and then wait to see what they need and then fill that. There is always good talent available.
I 100% disagree.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
I do as well.
ridiculous. You start your
absurd.
2 imports. I'm going to start my 3 imports and beat the absolute
Oh,
shite out of you.
okay. Well done, Taipans.
Okay, firstly,
Well
it's
done,
also
Taipans.
They only got the 2.
You get the quarter of the season before you have to pay them all out. So you can bring someone in if it's not working. You can make a change before having to pay out the contract. Let's talk about the Taipans though, because it was a very, very disappointing start to the season. I'm going to give an asterisk to the offensive end because they don't have a point guard. Andrew Andrews wasn't here yet, so they came up against the worst possible team to have to play that undermanned style against. Jack McVeigh tried, but when you've got no point guard to put him in the right positions to get the ball over half court, Like, what do you expect? So I'll give an asterisk on the offensive end with all the turnovers. But defensively, putrid. They were really, really poor defensively. They weren't on the same page. And I know when a team comes out and punches you in the mouth in the first quarter, it can take you on the back foot. But that's just not an Adam Forde coached team in the first game. When everything else is against you, as I said, yes, no one's expecting you to be able to get into your offense without a point guard. You can still show a bit more heart and a bit more, I guess, togetherness on the defensive end.
My high school coach used to say, shout out to Norwayne Reed.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. He used to say, don't bring panic to the floor. And that is exactly what the Cairns Taipans did. And all of a sudden, guys, they wasn't getting full court trapped all the time. You got Kyle Adnam, who's a veteran. You got Lockie Barker. Lockie Barker ain't no scrub. But everybody that touched the ball got the fumbles with the ball. They're panicking. So now all of a sudden, you're supposed to be a professional basketball team, and you can't even get the ball across half court, Pete. You can't even make one simple pass away. I'm not saying initiate some intricate offense. I'm talking about just advancing the ball. And then once the league blew out, now I need to look at your heart. Now I'm checking your heart. Like, how many points are you going to lose by? When does it stop?
They were better in the second half. They looked after the ball. I think they only turned it over a handful of times in the second half compared to 12 or 13 in the first. So clearly Adam Forde changed something and did something at halftime. Andrew Andrews will come in. He'll sort a couple of those problems. I'm not worried yet. But the defensive, just heart and intensity, all of that, you can control that depending on who's available on the floor. That was a disappointing way to start the season.
Well, let's see how Adam Forde, the great man, wrapped it up.
I'm not saying they had a bad game, or kind of tell us that they had a bad game, but there were guys that I think got a real, it was like a real reality check in a sense of like what the physicality is allowed in the NBL, and I feel like it's definitely gone up another level, which is good. I'm not complaining about it. What you can get away with, on the ball and off the ball now, I feel like it's gone up.
He's certainly got a lot to fix, and again, we'll give that a mulligan in this first round, but hopefully for their sake it doesn't continue down the same path as it did last year. Now, it's all happening in the beautiful state of Queensland. The Brisbane Lions marching towards the grand final. The Cairns Taipans, they couldn't hold up their end of the bargain, but the Brisbane Bullets, the Stu Lash experiment. I am on board this train because I love the way he's going about it. Tyrell Harrison looked amazing. Onward march the Bullets.
I said last season that Tyrell Harrison was the best big man in the league. He was out of shape, though. He couldn't play long minutes. Look at him now. He's streamlined. He's still the same exact height, but he's in great shape. Very stiff not to probably make the Denver Nuggets team after the way he played in the Summer League. Ty's going to give you buckets, and you can't foul him because he's going to make his free throws. But this man right here on screen, we got to talk about Mr. Fundamental. Yeah. This dude put on a clinic. Shot fakes, jabs, one-dribble pull-ups. It's nothing but pure efficiency from him. Ain't about the highlight reel, but I get gassed up watching somebody just be able to make it look so easy with less theatrics.
Are we sleeping on Casey Prather from the off-season? I feel like all of us
According to Twitter, we are.
Well, I feel like all of us are, though, because he picked up right where he left off and looked unbelievable. I mean, this is a guy who, the back end of last season, if you're just voting MVP on the back end of last season, he's a top 3 finalist. He was unbelievable then, and he's picked up where he left off. He looked great. Tyrell Harrison, if he continues that, it doesn't even have to be at that unbelievable rate, but just a little bit below, he will get that NBA deal. He's so close to an NBA deal, as you said, with the Nuggets in the Summer League. So I'm expecting that to happen next year, but the Bullets, they start off on a roll.
The hardest thing for Casey is, I know it's positionless, the All-NBL first team, but he could play well enough to make it, but I think Tyrell Harrison, if he's healthy, is going to be an All-NBL first-team guy. Now, you can't have 2 from the Bullets if they're not going to be a top 4 team, which I don't believe they will be.
Here's my thing. My only concern with the Bullets, they're small. Okay, you take Tyrell Harrison off the floor. Torrey Smith-Milner can come in and give you a little bit of 5. Big Jacob Holt is injured. So they are small, right? Now, they spread the floor. The good thing is you got the ball in Jalen Adams' hands. I don't care what happened in Sydney. We saw what this man can do. You spread the floor, and he gets his middle ball screens, or he can just go ISO. He's going to find people. He got scorers all around him. They're going to rack up points. But I said to you last week, Pete, are they too small when you start Sam McDaniels in the 3 imports? I still think that's too small. It was successful against New Zealand. We'll see what it looks like against some of the bigger teams.
Yeah, I'll find out. The defensive side is still a question for me, and you need to be able to play defense in this league.
One of the most interesting bylines of this game, and I mentioned before that I am all on board with what Bill Brisbane are doing. I think Malcolm Watts explained it perfectly. They've got 2 great assistant coaches. Stu Lash is the head coach, but he is also delegating. His timeouts were run by these assistants who, in my opinion, probably the 2 best assistants in the game. So they're doing it by committee over there in Brisbane, and it was picked up by a lot of people.
Fascinating. And again, I have seen this before. We've seen it. I think Tassie do it as well. Melbourne United have done it. The back end of a game, if there's a crucial side out of bounds and you have just a specialist in that, someone will come in and do the play. Nearly every time out, I think, well, every time out we saw on broadcast, Stu Lash took a step back. Now, again, if it's what works to help the team win this year, because Stu Lash is a new head coach and Vandy knows his stuff, D-Mac knows his stuff, if it works for your team, I'm all for it. I've just never seen it for every single time out. It was a real fascinating thing to see, but right now they win, so you have to say that it's working.
We even saw Brian Gorgon do it with the Boomers in the Olympics. So I don't see it that big of a deal.
At times, though, not every single time out.
How many did we see? There's how many timeouts in the game? He's running training sessions. Sometimes, too, the coaches have their own individual scout. It might have been Greg Vanderjack's scout that particular round. Now, next week could be D-Mac's scout, and we might see more D-Mac involved.
He did say when he took the job as well how heavily he was leaning on those two, which, to be honest, is a very smart thing. If he came in and said, I'm not listening to my assistants, I'm a new head coach, I'm going to figure it out myself, I'd probably be more alarmed than I am there. As I said, it's working. If they're going to continue to work, then keep doing it.
And it shows a bit of no ego on the part of Stu Lash as well, that you're willing to go in there, be the head coach, but say, hey, I'm a basketball guy. I've been around the block. I've been at teams at every single level. These guys, they know their X's and O's, so let them work. So credit to the Brisbane Bullets. You took a gamble and it's worked round one. We'll see how it goes. Now, where there is smoke, there is fire. And Pete, your ear is a lot closer to the ground than mine is when it comes to NBL stuff. Javon Freeman-Liberty. Now, he left Turkey after 2 games, I believe, where he previously played because he was homesick. I've heard that potentially he is feeling a similar type of way in Brisbane and they are at risk of potentially losing him back to the States because he's a homebody. Is there truth to that?
Well, I hope that he doesn't leave the Bullets, but you talk about the reputation, you're right, he was in Turkey for 2 games. Talking to people overseas around Summer League, that is something that has happened to him a lot in his professional career, is not wanting to be too far away from home, and you can understand that for whatever reason. Going to Turkey didn't work out. He said he only played the 2 games. Other teams who had their eye on him as well knew that. But the Brisbane Bullets understood
So teams
it too.
knew that.
Brisbane Bullets knew it too, right?
But did teams in the NBL know that and then chose to not go with him? Because talent-wise, they were going to not go with him because of that?
No, there's a price packet too. He's very expensive because he's a very, very good player. And the Brisbane Bullets said, you know what, we trust that we can make this a comfortable environment for you. And I hope that it can work out because Brisbane's a beautiful place to live. It's a great league. He's an absolute superstar. We've seen the dunk of the year. We've seen all of this already in game 1. I hope that it does work out, but yeah, it has been something in the past that has hampered him, and I hope it doesn't today.
What am I missing? Who said anything about being homesick? Who said anything about leaving early?
I heard some whispers.
The season just started. Like, where you spill like?
It just started in Turkey.
Where's your intel? Like, what are you talking about?
I'm telling you what was said in the reputation of everything that's happened the last couple of years in his professional career.
I'm
so
not buying it.
sure.
Hey, you know what you also said?
Any of that.
When I said Renz Bleinberg was going to get fired before the season started, you said, nah, it's only pre-season. We're not reading into that. Ain't happening.
No, I believe your words were.
Hey, where's Renz?
Renz is fine.
I said calm down is what I said.
No,
That's what I
you
said.
said-
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to calm down and we're going to discuss that off camera because we're cutting to a break. Breakers and Hawks up next. Drama on Hindley Street. It's happened. The Adelaide 36ers couldn't even get to the first game of the year without something happening. Now, admittedly, this is out of their control. But unfortunately for them, we've just heard news during the ad break. We're going to read this as live. Montrezl Harrell and the Adelaide 36ers have parted ways. We'll read the statement right now from Olgun Ulick, ESPN Basketball Insider. Montrezl Harrell and the Adelaide 36ers are preparing to part ways, sources told ESPN. Harrell, an 8-year NBA veteran, has faced complications following a doping violation he was found guilty of while playing in China over the off-season. Sources said with the 36ers unable to navigate around the situation, the move comes less than a week out from the 36ers NBL regular season opener, with the team set to face the Brisbane Bullets on Sunday afternoon to begin their campaign. Harrell was a member of the 36ers last season where he averaged 20 points, blah, 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 blah. He's gone. Now, the Adelaide 36ers, I believe, judging by that, are not to blame. This didn't happen on Australian soil as a complication from hitting the bongs over in China, and it's not the start they wanted.
Well, I'm more concerned with both the fact that, 1, you took your glasses off to read, and 2, you pronounced his surname in 3 different ways. But, yeah, really disappointing. Obviously, they put this roster together with so much hype, and there was a lot, you talk about a lot of things that were going on. You started to hear things the last few days of like, okay, this doesn't look like it's going to all work out. Yeah, everyone wants to see Trez in the league. He was such a character last year. He was what he did, All-NBL second teamer. More so, too, what Adelaide was building. Now they get to shift course, though, and they're going to bring in 2 imports, which we'll talk about. So in a weird way, they're going to get even stronger still, but not ideal way to start the season.
Now, this doesn't fall into the classic category of Adelaide being a bit of a circus. That's not falling. This happened in another country in the Far East. Now, China got their own thing in the GWADA, the global police. So I'm not going to sit up here and play moral police, but he's going to get some type of suspension. He can't play here in the league. Big blow to the NBL, but Adelaide now got to quickly move on.
This absolutely sucks. Montrez is on all the promos. Bryce Cotton's amazing. He's fantastic. But I am tuning in to watch Montrez Harrell because he is fireworks. Is he going to jump into the stands? This is, it's live by the sword, die by the sword in this scenario. But there is going to be a lot of people out there, especially I feel for people in Adelaide. He is the most exciting player in the NBL. Now, I have no doubt that someone else is going to jump in, and credit to Adelaide, they have this weird ability to find incredibly exciting imports on and off the court. So I'm sure that they'll find someone without doing a background check, which will be fantastic. But this absolutely sucks.
Nah, it's a blow for Trez, too. I mean, he's finally healthy.
Yeah.
He came here when he was injured, played himself into some shape. Now we're going to get a full season of him healthy from the start. He applied his trade overseas. He went to Puerto Rico, in China, obviously. Something, okay, he's in great shape. He's going to come out here and beat Trez. But now we all miss out.
What they do have, though, is Bryce Cotton to segue into some
And also,
positivity.
we always want to say when we say this as well, that this is Montrez's fault. He did this. This isn't like we can't just remove all blame. This was an idiotic thing to do, and he's done it. So, you dig your own grave in that regard.
Let's move on.
And well, they're going to move on with this man because he looked unbelievable against Kendrick Nunn, the EuroLeague. And this is a great moment, too, to see these two superstars, game-recognised game. But I tell you what this means as well. So, Adelaide fans, if you want to get excited, Wednesday night, Bryce Cotton officially became an Australian citizen. He had the ceremony. They held a lunch, I believe, either that day or the following day, where they gave him a bunch of Aussie things. Everybody there was around the team to fully welcome their local player, their local superstar. So now they're on the hunt for 2 imports to add to this team that already has a starting unit of Cotton, Cameron, DJ Vasiljevic, Cheatham, and Isaac Humphries. They can bring in 2 new imports. They have the flexibility again, because that'll hold them down for a couple of weeks, and they have the flexibility to go and say, where do we need to do it? Do we need a 4-5? Probably, yes. Do we need a true point guard? There's still so much to be excited about with now that they can go out there and just bolster this roster even more.
Are you telling me it's a benefit that they can play the lead up to the season a whole lot of games without an import and then fill in those gaps with what they need? Is that what we're saying? That seems advantageous.
I didn't hear you say that if a 5-time MVP can become an Australian, but Olgun Ulic reported that as well a couple of weeks ago, that the ceremony would happen before their season started. Now, he was particular in his words because Adelaide didn't play round 1 in the NBL. So it was always going to work out for them, and now Bryce is a marquee player. They can add 2 imports to a roster that's already stacked.
Now it's time. It's time now. See, I was always kind of concerned about Trez and Jaylin Cheatham, and Isaac Humphries. Who starts? Who comes off the bench? Who could handle coming off the bench? I said, well, you ain't going to bench Trez. And if you bench Isaac Humphries, who knows how he's going to react? So that was always a bit of a logjam concern for me. That is now removed. I don't like starting all 3 guards neither. So, like you said, they got some time, but I wouldn't be waiting too long.
Let's double down on that as well, because I know a lot of people with the depth chart was thinking, okay, why is Montrez coming off the bench? From what I understand and from what the 36ers told me, Montrez signed on this team as the backup big man. So he was due to come off the bench.
Behind who?
But he wasn't happy with that, was he?
Behind Cheatham and Isaac Humphries. You wouldn't expect him to be as an All-NBL second player, All-NBL second team. But that was how they envisioned this roster. And then again, he got here 2 weeks ago. They hadn't practiced. I mean, hadn't played a preseason game. We hadn't seen how it was going to work. But that was the original makeup of this team from what the 36ers tell me.
Hey, over the weekend, I was out there. The Pavlos Yiannakopoulos tournament was an absolute success. Sold out crowds, the atmosphere unmatched at these. But the big one for me, Jaylin Galloway stroking it from outside the arc. He looked like it was the FIBA Asia Cup out there. Are we starting to get to FIBA Galloway?
I'm trying to tell you. I told you this dude, he's like having an import right now. He was so unbelievable during that Asia Cup. I said, if he can just stay healthy and translate that into the NBL, now you got your lightning backcourt, Kendrick and Delhi. Now you got Jaylin, you got Bull Qual, you got Big Shot Quatnoy. They are stacked. And now that he's in the mix, I can't see why they wouldn't push for a title.
They're going to be fun. Jaylin Galloway, I've been high on this train. Again, last season when they struggled, when he was thrown into the starting unit, they looked good in the first half before he got injured and a season-ending injury against Melbourne United. He's a stud, and the way he's shooting that ball, He's going to get another chance back in the NBA. I think he's only 23 still.
Young.
He's an NBA prospect.
Not to rain on this parade, but did you see the final possession of the game?
No.
You didn't.
No.
Jaylin Galloway, shooting the lights out all game. Caught the ball off an offensive rebound, got kicked out. Wide open up the top of the key, and he didn't shoot it.
Wait, are you bringing negativity to this praise?
What am I here for?
Why are
That's
you raining?
crazy, man.
Keep your
That's
rain to
cra-
yourself.
Keep your Rain Smith to yourself.
Okay, well, anyway, Galloway, congratulations for not shooting the final shot of the game. We're going to cut to a break while I whack these idiots over the head.
Jab, right in your eye. Cash. This man is fundamental.
Bannon with a handoff for Johnson. For three, that is extraordinary.
That is just talent.
Doyle with a hand in the face. Buries one and silences My State Bank Arena.
What a weekend for Bryce Hamilton and David Johnson up the top there. But I'll tell you what, I got a warning to everyone on the Mitsubishi Motors leading board. Tyler Harvey and Christopher Golding are still yet to play. So they, I'm sure, are going to be right up there as we go on. We're going to keep that tally going all year. Now, just before, we got to address something. Something happened that cannot wait for the Cupcake till next week. Have a look at this.
They held a lunch, I believe, either that day or
The
following
monitor
day where they gave
has been
lunch to
kicked
all
out
the
from
big
beneath it.
everybody there as well.
Now, we have been discussing who could have been responsible for this. I have nothing under me here. There's nothing here. Damon's legs are too short to reach the bottom, so it wasn't him. Peter Hooley, control yourself and stop kicking out the electronics. You're making us look bush league.
No, there's nothing on this side either. Man, come on, man.
If I grab this cord and wrap it around you, nah.
Well,
been a big
unfortunately,
show.
that wasn't the only thing that went wrong today and this weekend because of the Breakers. This is what hurt me the most over the weekend. They have done so well in the off-season, so well, bringing New Zealand, the culture, back into the team. Unfortunately, they forgot you got to play basketball as well.
Nah, hang on a minute. They're compromised. Their leading guy, Parker Jackson Cartwright, is starting the season banged up. Not just any kind of injury, the ribs, the ones you need to be able to breathe. And he's still probably faster than everybody in the league, so he's out. Sam Meninga gets concussed late in game one. He's out. Now what do you do? Now Isaiah Brockington's out there like, well, looks like it's just me. Now, I like what he's doing, but he needs more help.
Also, Tyrell Harrison said in the post-game press conference he thinks they're just out of shape and they need to get on the same page and get in basketball shape as soon as they can. Now,
How you come into the season out of shape?
I'm about to say it if I can finish my sentence. The reports did come out last couple of weeks. There was an illness that went through all the players. Karim Lopez was really sick. Meninga, all these guys were sick. Baker, who just played in the Ameri Cup. Then they had to go to Japan as well in the preseason. So they're starting slow. But still, the way they closed out both those games, it's not good enough. And it's scary to allow 100 points plus. Now we're looking at a prospect of potentially no PJC or a severely hampered PJC. You could see the emotion on Coach Kopp in the press conference talking about this, because if that is the case for however long it is, missing time or he can't play to his best of his ability, they're in trouble.
We got to get an injury replacement on standby.
We? Are you Kiwi?
They need to get one. Now, Taylor Britt didn't play in game one, so I thought at least if they had a backup point guard. He didn't play in game one. He plays in game two. But he is no Parker Jackson Cartwright. So right now, this team just got to just hold the fort. Now, they almost won game one. That was not like a blowout loss or anything. They could have won. They could have beat Brisbane. Obviously, game two, that game got completely away from them. I'm not panicking. There's a few teams that's not quite right just yet. It's a long season.
And I know it's probably a little bit to do with the sickness and the travel, but let's get Baker into that starting unit as soon as possible. Yeah. He looked really good against Melbourne United. I know it was a disappointing result, but let's get him into that starting unit. And that's next on the rundown, man. The Hawks are next. Illawarra Hawks is next on the rundown.
Hey, for me, there's a big difference between being sick and being out of shape. So it'll be interesting to see if Tyrell Harrison is saying they're sick or whether they're just too fat, I don't know, and out of shape, because that's a whole different beast. It looked like they didn't run out that game on a doubleheader. Also, PJC, that injury is going all the way back to last season. So if he's still lingering, that is a really, really worrying sign that it still hasn't healed in that long. Now, I know it was aggravated, but that's a very, very worrying sign, that long of an injury.
Luckily, they got a great coach. And he's not going to panic. Nobody's pushing the panic buttons. Like you said, they just got to get healthy, man. Like, it's a long season. Some teams going to get off to a good start. Some teams going to get off to a slow start. I feel like it's going to even out a little bit. So, again, I'm being patient.
Are you saying that if it's something that you just have to tolerate the pain with PJC, are you saying for him to try and fight through it? Or, hey, rest up until you're ready to go and we'll get an injury replacement?
I'm getting an injury replacement regardless. Just like Perth had Todd Withers on standby.
On standby, right.
Yeah, on standby. No.
What about Brockington? You nicknamed him Buckington. You gave him a nickname before the season had even started.
You didn't even say that during the call.
No.
No, he did. He did.
Thanks, man.
No. And he's still a bucket. He's still a bucket. Now, look, it's hard, though. You clown.
You said it that many times. You said it that many times.
No, I don't want to go now. Now, listen, Isaiah's going to be fine. But it's hard, like, he don't have his main point guard. He don't have his starting four-man with him. And his first game, I thought Isaiah was a little bit too tentative. Now, game 2, he's a little bit more aggressive. And, like, what is he shooting? Like 62% from the 57% or something, averaging about 19 points a game. He will get to probably 24 or 25. I'm about to slap this.
He was one of the best mic'd ups we've ever had as well. He was unbelievable mic'd up. You
might need to borrow my glasses in a second, man. Those eyes are watering. Let's jump onto the Hawks. Let's jump onto the Hawks right now because they kicked off their season at Marina Bay Sands against the Flamingos. How'd they do?
The who?
They were in Singapore against Flamengo.
Flamengo,
that's the one.
Look, I mean, anytime you get to go over there and represent the NBL, we spoke about it, the timing of it not ideal, but they get 3 games to play. Dave O'Hickey wasn't available. We know Bwali Bale's got a big run as well. So I'm excited to see them back in the NBL. These are the reigning champs. I know you're excited. I've got something that's a bit of a watch, but I'll let you speak first.
The Hawks will be fine. Now, Sam Fraudin is the key. When he comes back earlier than expected, and he loads
Not rushing
up.
that, though.
No rush at all. Javale McGee is going to be fine. Now, look, don't get caught up in all what happened over there. Like, once people saying, is he as mobile as he used to be? 50% of JaVale McGee is going to lead the league in blocks and can still be Defensive Player of the Year. They got the championship DNA. Nobody is worried at all in the Gome.
You know what that smells like? Man, I'm a historian. It smells like some good old-fashioned homegrown propaganda right there. That is good. You are working for the man, Damon.
Now, I was watching this and you talk about, I'm not concerned because it can be elite, and we saw it from the Sydney Kings with Andrew Bogut, who was an elite rim protector as well. So this is their game against Flamengo, and that deep drops from JaVale McGee. He's going to have to play that, right? Because he's probably the best rim protector in the league. So I was watching this and I was like, okay, how do they get around this when it comes to the NBL? Because there's a couple of players who can really, really pick that apart. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not concerned because if the guards do the right thing, they can make it work. But this happened with Bryce Cotton with the deep drops in one of the seasons with Andrew Bogut. Newsflash, Bryce Cotton is still in this league. So have a look at this. And that's a deep drops from Bogut, and Bryce Cotton just filled it up. Kendrick Davis likes to do that as well. Tyler Harvey, thankfully, is on their team, but he's another one who exposes deep drops. As I said, I'm not concerned with it just yet. I want to wait and see what happens because when it's done right and when the guard fights over the screen, when Dave O'Hickey or McLaughlin, they fight over the screen and force the guard into JaVale McGee, they have the potential to be one of the best defensive teams in the league if they can nail that because McGee's a monster down there. If you don't quite get the deep drops right, it can really hurt in the NBL.
Well, let's get X's and O's real nerdy then. I just watched the Brisbane Bullets have Tyrell Harrison playing in a deep drop, but they rotated from the wing. They rotated another guy over.
You gotta have Tyrell. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't. JaVale McGee can still stay back there and protect the key and let everybody else rotate around him and then block shots and get rebounds.
As I said, if you do it right, it can be an unbelievably good defense. It just requires everyone to be on the page, a little bit more on the same page, and the guards to fight over the screen. I just want to see how it plays out. We have seen it work very well, and we have seen it work.
Trying to sow seeds of doubt into the defending champs.
If we're talking propaganda, now you need to remove him completely. You need to silence him, Damon. Don't half-ass the propaganda
We'll come back. Once
silence
we see them this weekend, I'll pick some clips out and say, you know what, they are going to be as elite as JaVale.
You hear that, JaVale? Pete said your defense ain't no good.
He ain't talking about him. He knows what he's doing.
Well, the reign of Damon Lowry will continue, and most likely that seat will be empty when we return to wrap it all up. Welcome back. Brand new segment. We're going to talk about who's on watch. Pete and Damon, they're going to tell us who they have their eyes focused on this coming round of NBL action.
Pete?
Perth Wildcats. Only because I'm very high on them. They're my championship favourites at the start of the season. And I just want to see them continuing to build. I play New Zealand Breakers. We know New Zealand might be a little underdone. We'll see what happens with PJC. So it's not so much about necessarily winning that game as to how they play, how they get that role clarity. So I'm really going to be locked into that game and just see them continue to grow. If I see that, I'm happy.
I've got the Cairns Taipans in my sights. Now, when I say that, I'm saying it with all the respect in the world because they're not ready yet. They don't have Andrews here in the country. Their point guard, Sam Wardenberg, is out probably till Christmas. So I get it. But I need to see a response because you just lost by 37 in your professional basketball team. I'm not saying they got to come out and win, but it's got to be some real extra determination shown.
Well, they play the Brisbane Bullets as well. So that's going to be a little rivalry renewed. You remember last year, the summer shootout in Brisbane?
A huge hit. Why is it not back this year?
You're talking to the wrong guy, mate. I commentate basketball games. That's about it.
Your ear is to the ground. You are the Larry Kesselman of this panel right now. But hey, it's going to be a massive one on Thursday night because the Throwdown, Melbourne United taking on Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. These are fantastic. Still tickets available for this one, and a public holiday the next day. Join the dots. You can enjoy yourself there.
I don't know what do you mean by that.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not like a certain individual in the league. Don't enjoy it that much, but like I would, just go out and have a good time.
What Throwdown are we up to?
But you know a little interesting tidbit of information about the Throwdown? So whenever they have the Throwdown, it is always Roman numerals. Throwdown 25, they use Roman numerals. They thought they could be sneaky with this and get this one past me. They've gone away with the Roman numerals.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's numbers now. And you know why they've gone to numbers?
Why?
Because it would have been not this one, but the next one. It would have been Throwdown XXX. You would have mixed it up with the goddamn Sexpo.
No, I would have... what?
It would have been Throwdown with a big XXX underneath.
The gutter is where you live.
Yeah,
I would have mixed it up with the wrestlers.
That's the only reason they could have changed it.
I love my job. I love working here. I love the NBL.
That's the only way that they could have changed it.
Nah.
So you're saying they just happen to switch the numbers?
Because you don't want too many letters. Now it's starting to get out of control a little bit.
To be fair, it's actually less. It's
Okay,
going to be less than some of the others.
The more Roman numerals you go, the less the number gets.
Hey, before we wrap up, Jack McVeigh, the $1 million man. I said last week that I don't think he's worth $1 million as a basketball player. I love Jack McVeigh. I think he's absolutely fantastic. But we're talking $1 million players that have to change the game. Are you still sticking by? Both of you said yes, $1 million player.
You cannot put that game on him. You're putting that
I'm not putting that game on him.
And you also can't
For $1 million, I don't want to get blown out by 40.
He's not the point guard. You can't expect him just to bring the ball up the floor if you're not a point guard.
And you can't
$1 million,
define
he's
what
paid $1 million to do what he does best, not just be a whole new player.
Hey, for $1 million, I want you to kick it in.
Nah.
See what happened in the Panathinaikos game? Shooting it from three-quarter court? That's what I want for $1 million.
If we're here next
It's a
week,
lot of
it'll be
money.
fun. If we're still here next week.
There is the high chance we're not on air next week after a couple of things have gone on this show. But hey, it's going to be a massive round 2 of NBL action. Make sure you stay tuned in, and we'll see you next Monday.